Today's question comes from someone in my LinkedIn network, and she wants to know why the recruiters don't follow up with her with feedback after she goes out on an interview. Now, in her case, she's gone on 2 interviews with the same company through the same search firm, and she hasn't gotten any feedback, and she wants to know why. Now, this is a really common problem for a lot of people, and a particularly frustrating one if you're an active job seeker. Now, the expectation is if you spend time preparing for and going to an interview and investing that time and energy, isn't it just sort of reasonable to expect, out of professional respect, that you should get some feedback on how you did? I want to offer 3 reasons why this doesn't happen. And this comes from both my work as a headhunter, but also as a executive coach working with people who are out there interviewing. Now, the first reason is actually quite common. A recruiter can't give you feedback if they have none to give, meaning the company hasn't shared with them feedback on how you did in the interview. Now, I would say this happens 50, 60, maybe even 70% of the time in the candidates that I send out to interviews as a headhunter, that I don't even get feedback. So as much as you want the feedback, I'm doing my best to get it, and I'm not getting it either. Now, that's the first reason. So that brings up the second reason. Why doesn't the company give the recruiter feedback? Well, a lot of companies just don't see it as their role to explain why they're not going to hire someone or not bring someone forward in the interview process. This doesn't come from any kind of disrespect for you as a job seeker or for your time and energy that you've invested. It really comes from the standpoint of risk management. A lot of companies, if they do give feedback to a recruiter and that recruiter in turn gives it to you, there's just too much risk. It's reputational risk and potential legal risk that message is miscommunicated or misinterpreted somehow, and the risk reward of that is just too far imbalanced for a lot of companies to take that risk. And so again, as unsatisfactory as that may seem, it's just a reality of how the business climate is. Now, the third reason why you won't get feedback, if a recruiter has the feedback, man, it is the hardest call to make. Every recruiter that I know hates making that phone call. This is why you're not going to get hired, not get the job. Thank you for all your time, but you're not going to move forward in the interview process. The recruiter doesn't want you to walk away feeling bad about yourself, and they certainly don't want you feeling bad about the company. So it's a delicate, diplomatic call to make, and no matter how much you want that feedback, you're going to have to be consistent and persistent in asking the recruiter for it, because it's not something that they naturally want to do.